Oh, well, hello there, my little darlings, and welcome back to another little episode of Warframes. And today, as you can see on the screen, we're just recapping the DEVSTREAM 184 beast of a recap. There are so many things that they shared with us on the DEVSTREAM and still teasing things to come that I just wanted to recap it for myself more than anything. I'm not going to go over every single teeny tiny detail, or am I? I might. But in the meantime, please feel free to go and check out all of my other Warframe videos and my other gameplay videos on this channel. And if you're going to stick around, please consider dropping me a like, comment and or sub, because it helps. Every little helps. In the meantime, let's get into this big old recap. Buckle up. We're going to deep dive. First up, the Your Year in Review feature on the Warframe website. You can click the links that they sent in the Discord, but if you just go to the Warframe website and log into your account, you should have a 2024 Year in Review option up to the right there in your general options, and there you go. There's some base stats on what you've been using, what weapons you've been using, statistics on how many things you've killed, how much time you spent as your operator strict drifter, your reinforcements, your favourite kills, your adversaries, eidolons. There's all sorts of stuff in there, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, they give you this handy little download option. You can download these two little pins here and share them on social media or in your Discord, or just save them for your own benefit. I mean, it's kind of cute, right? They've made it look really fancy as well, so we've been sharing those in my Discord. And yeah, it kind of makes you look at the game slightly differently. Like, there's things I need to work on here. Next up is the Warframe Wiki. Now, I have used like Wikipedia, like is it the fan frame or something like that? I can't remember. But this one looks entirely different and I've never used it, and they've moved it to, I think, a website or a company called Weird Gloop, and it looks pretty damn fine. There's a lot in there. There's a few blank areas, obviously, because it's a wiki and it's created by the people for the people, but it looks smart AF. I created an account shortly after this. I don't think I needed to. It says you don't actually have to create an account to use it, but it looks snazzy. And if you're not sure where to find it on the internet, just go to the Warframe website, go to guides, and then scroll down to the Warframe Wiki. I guess it's always been there. They've just moved its location on the actual internets. Anyway, look at it. Go and have a mooch if you're not sure about what you're looking at. It's pretty damn good. Oh, and I should mention this has its own Discord. There's a Warframe Wiki Discord. Don't know if that's new, but it looks fancy AF, and I joined it, and there's so many channels there to go and discuss stuff on. But this Warframe Wiki also has like a lore page, which you can deep dive into the lore, the stories behind all the quests and the everythings. So I got a bit stuck into that and forgot that I should actually be editing this video. Anyway, let me know what you think of that. The other thing they mentioned is that they're going to release more soundtracks. If you go here to their Warframe website and click on music, you can use various outlets to listen to the Warframe albums, the official soundtracks for Warframe 1999, and the 1999 has the online music in there as well, and you can just have that playing like in the background of whatever you're doing in your day, or you know, I've recorded a bit of it and I've got it playing in the background of this video because it's, I assume, copyright free, because I've used it in previous videos, and that is great for content creators and such like. So, you know, go and check it out. They are going to be releasing more stuff for our earballs. Oh yes. So let's move to this date, the 6th of February 2025. There's a few things being released on this date, and the Star Days event is coming back. I've got the 2024 one up on the screen because that's all I could find on the website, but they did mention Star Days is back for 2025. And if you don't know, it's a Valentine's Day themed event, and I can't remember what you need to earn to be able to trade stuff with Ticker at Fortuna for goodies. Now, these glyphs, I believe, are going to be part of the reward pool, or the things that you can buy from Ticker. We'll look more into it when it comes out on the 6th of February, so don't worry, but you know, something to look forward to. And next up, also coming out on the 6th of February 2025, is the Rhino Heirloom collection. It's very fancy, lots of special things going on with it. The other heirloom that was released, of course, was Ember, so this is the second heirloom skin, and as you can see, we got some footage from the DEVSTREAM of them just, you know, showing it off. Now, coincidentally, they've also decided to make Rhino, normal Rhino, the grind for him is, I think it happens on Fortuna. It's a boss fight, and he's very available very early on in the game. Is it Fossa? I think that's right. And what they've done is reduced his build time from 72 hours to 24 hours. So you build his component blueprints, I guess 12 hours each. The 3 of them, your optic chassis systems, once you've got them from doing that Fossa fight. And then his actual main blueprint will only take a day to complete building, which is a step in the right direction for newer players. They want newer players to get their hands on Rhino, but I'm guessing it's also somehow linked to the fact they're releasing this heirloom skin around the same time. And next up on the 6th of February, we have the Belly of the Beast event returning. If you don't know, this is linked to the Jade Shadows quest, and it's all to do with the Stalker, and it's freaking amazing. And it's kind of like a community thing. It's linked to your clan dojo. It's linked to Ordis and the relay. We'll do a separate episode. I have done a previous Belly of the Beast operation video before if you want to go and check it out, but it's all on the Warframe website, what you need to know and what you need to do. Again, when it comes here, we'll revisit it and refresh our memories, and there's arcanes to be had. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Community kind of, I don't know if they're like ephemeras, or I can't remember what we earned last time, but there's so much going on with it, and it's also a really good quest to do. Again, I did a video on it. Oh, so emotional. And just to be 100% clear, you can only participate in the Belly of the Beast operation if you have completed this quest, the Jade Shadows quest. So hop to it, my darlings. And next up, also starting on the 6th of February 2025, is the next Nora Nightwave Volume. So the previous one will expire soon, so make sure you spend your cred offerings. Otherwise, you have to just collect them or sell them for credits from your inventory once it's done. But this is what's coming. I won't go over every single reward because there's like 30 of them, I think. It's the usual suspects, but mixed now with a 1999 vibe. So you're going to get cosmetics and things like that. It's going to be awesome, but you're going to have to do challenges to earn your credits for your Nightwave offerings. And it's all very good and fun because it's just something else to collect in the game. And if you are a loot goblin like myself, you'll be working frantically on that. And the next thing they revealed was that Tennocon 2025 tickets will be on sale from February the 7th. I think it's on the Eventbrite website. And I always buy a digital pack ticket because obviously I can't go to Canada. I don't have that kind of money or time, but I love buying the digital ticket because it gives you lots of goodies, a bit of plat, and also you get full access to Barrow Keatir's full repertoire of everything he's ever sold for like a week or two. And if you can save up enough ducats or ducats, you can buy a lot of stuff. You can stock up as well on primed mods that you can sell at a later date for a reasonable amount of platinum, or, you know, gift them to your friends, whatever you want to do with it. I always buy it just to show my support to the Warframe devs. You don't have to do that, okay? I'm just saying that's what I do. And the next thing that's being released that I can see is on the 12th of February, and that is our beloved Lavos Prime. And he's going to come with the Pseudo Prime, the Dual Zoran Prime, the Vitam Prime Sindana, and a Lavos Prime shoulder armor set. You can buy the whole lot for an extremely huge amount of actual real life money, or you can go and grind out the relics for all of these items. Maybe not the Sindana, you might have to buy that for platinum, I'm not sure. But I'm very excited because I love Lavos. I've got a soft spot for him. If you go and watch my LR, I think it's 1, 2, and 3 mastery tests. I think I took him on all of them, and he was the guy that got me through them. This Warframe, you can get the original from Father on Deimos, the Entrati family, the Necrolisk, and he doesn't require energy, so you don't have to mod him for energy. He's very much like Hildrin, and he's got like a chroma vibe where you can change his kind of stats, and he does a huge amount of damage to enemies. He is so much fun. He's got this transmutation thing as well. And it kind of revives your ammo and health, and I can't wait to do a Lavos Prime episode. Honestly, I'm going to be like a pig in doodah. I really am. So let's look forward to that on the 12th. And everything after this point, they kind of haven't given a specific date on. So we're going to learn more in the next dev stream, which is on the 28th of February 2025. That'll be dev stream 185. And hopefully they'll give us some more specific dates. But, you know, it's something to look forward to. So seeing as we've just looked at Lavos Prime being released, they clanged into dev stream 184 that they are releasing a new Warframe at some indeterminate point in the future. And it's going to be a musical Warframe, kind of hopefully related to Octavia. They might be sisters from a different mister. You just don't know. This one is called Temple, and this is a rock babe. She's going to have like a guitar. This is their sort of concept for the guitar, I think, as either a weapon or an ability. She has picks, like guitar picks for fingernails or fingers. There's there was a lot of hints and tips, but they didn't actually tell us much more about her. So we know that is something very much I'm looking forward to, and it's going to be very much linked, I think, to the 1999 content, and also potentially the new enemies that are coming out, which we're going to cover in a moment. And just before we hit those new enemies, I just wanted to talk about the things I didn't get footage for. They're going to release new Drifter outfits and hair. Now, the hair is linked very much to the 1999 content, so it's going to be like Letty's hair, it's going to be Owie's hair, Arthur's hair, the bad guys even. There was some braids going on from, I can't remember the Skuldra boss queen lady. Beautiful braids, and they're also going to be releasing a Jaya deluxe skin. I don't know if this is actually related to any of the Warframe 1999 stuff, probably not, but it's a beautiful concept. They said it's absolutely stunning when it's animated, and they're also going to release a deluxe skin for the Ultinox, which makes me kind of think maybe they're starting to focus in on Jaya. I know I'd love a Jaya Prime at some point, but I think there are others, you know, on the list first, but hopefully we'll get round to it. They've also decided to release some 1999 decorations, so you can start buying them. I don't know where from in the game, potentially from the market or from a character at the Hex Syndicate. We're not sure yet, but you're going to be able to use them in your dojo and your backrooms and your orbiter, and I don't know, we might even make a Warframe and 1999 themed room in our dojo. Who knows? Stick around to find out if we can make that happen. And also, I vaguely remember them mentioning that defense mission requirements, you know, when you have to do the 5 waves, they're going to reduce it to 3 across the game. It's just taken them a long time to figure it out, because that requirement happens in a lot of areas of the game. So I don't know how that's going to play out for a lot of missions, but it's going to be making life a little bit easier in some areas of the game, definitely. And they're going to speed up the time in between waves as well, so you're just not lingering for too long. They understand people are on a bit of a tight timeline nowadays. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I think is, like, it was a huge deal in my Discord when we were watching it together, is they're making a change to aura formers. And this is important because it's going to change up for a lot of people who want multiple different builds with their former modifications within their Warframes, and or I'm guessing weapons. These aura formers, they're now going to become Omnia formers. So previously, aura formers were specifically for a specific slot on your Warframe loadout, aura, and it would basically make it so that you could put any mod in there. Now, what they're going to do is change the aura former name to Omnia former, and that can be used anywhere in your build, and it means that any mod polarity can go into that slot, which means on your different configurations, you don't have to worry about the polarity that you've put in there, because, don't know if you know this, but when you helminth an ability on, you can put, if you have 3 configurations, 3 different helminth abilities on that one Warframe, but you can't do that with the former slots. They're the same across all of the configurations, which in the old days, I indeed made like 2 or 3 different pro tiers so I could have 3 different former loadouts, which seems bonkers now, but back then when we didn't have the Incarnate weapons and abilities were far more important for specific missions, those former configurations were a pain in the whatsit. So having these new Omnia formers are going to be really interesting. Now, what they're saying is any aura formers that you already own, and potentially the blueprints, they will just transform them into Omnia formers for you. So if you can start farming aura formers now, more's the better, because you will then have a ton of Omnia formers. Now, I don't know if they're going to change the requirements for building the aura stroke Omnia formers, but I don't know if you saw, you need 10 Nitane extract, you need argon crystals, I think 1 or 2 of, and you also need 4 former, like normal former. That it's a huge amount of resources to build 1 aura former, and they only drop from specific areas in the game, like as rewards for very specific things, and also from arbitrations. They potentially drop as a reward from a round, but you can only get to arbitrations once you've cleared all the nodes on the star chart. Now, I am very tempted to do a completely separate episode to try to prepare us for the aura stroke Omnia former preparation, because it's going to be a tiny bit of a game changer for a lot of people. And if you can get those aura formers now, more's the better. More is the better, because I don't know what other changes they're going to be making to them. Okay, my darling. So maybe another episode, a totally separate one, so we can go deep diving into how to get these FORMA blueprints. Maybe, possibly. What do you think? And before we end on talking about the new enemies that are coming in, I just want to talk about a few other housekeeping things they mentioned. Those being they're changing the Pseudo Exalted something or other. I don't know what that actually means. So they were talking about Revenant and I can't remember the other Warframe, but there was something to do with combos with melees or something like that. Can someone explain to me in more detail in the comments what they're changing? Because in my Discord, people were saying that is a straight up nerf. They're making it so that it's like a separate thing that you modify, almost like an exalted weapon. So I don't know. Somebody explain it to me. We'll obviously see more of it when they actually implement the changes in game, but that kind of was made like, I don't think that's going to be very important to somebody like me. They're going to change the stealth auxiliary, so you can go into your settings and choose how you want to appear to be stealthy when you are playing a stealth Warframe, or if you get stealth effects from another player's abilities. They're also twiddling with the mod station, so it's going to be easier to choose like sets of mods. There's going to be lots of different filters that you can fiddle with just for people who have a ton of mods that want to sell them for endo or credits. It's going to be a lot easier to find your mods, and you can filter out mods as well when you're looking for your mods. So they're going to fiddle with that. We'll take a closer look at it when they release it. And the other thing they mentioned was squad disbanding. So when you are in a squad, a random squad with members of the public that you haven't invited to be in your squad, i.e. your friends, etc., when you leave a mission, they will auto disband the squad. So you're not accidentally sat there in your orbiter or wherever, twiddling around in your mod, and all of a sudden someone starts a mission and potentially drags you in. It can get a bit awkward. And also when you're in a squad with a friend, you've got maybe 2 or 3 of your squad and then random from the public, and you want to get straight back into another mission, and that random doesn't leave squad because they're probably distracted, much like we are. It can get a bit like, oh my god, can they just leave? Because then you have to disband the whole squad and then reinvite people. And that's just something we've been doing for years, but now they're like, no, we're just going to kick you all out of the squad unless you were all invited to it specifically. So you don't have to chill out. You can chill about it. You don't have to stress about it, I should say. And the other thing, as you can see on the screen, I'm going through most of the Gemini emotes. I don't have Letty at this point, but I've brought them up because they said, potentially with this next bit of the update, we're going to talk about the Techrot Encore. They are releasing 4 more Protoframe characters. They're also releasing a ton of more content, new content for the previous Protoframes like Arthur, Owie, etc. They're going to have more lines, more Kim interactions, our little PC pom. They're just going to make messaging them when you're romancing them a little bit less irksome. And they also mentioned that if you are in a relationship with somebody and they're in your back room, you will be able to choose potentially upon loading in where you want them to appear. So they're going to have more areas in your back room, so they're not just stood in one place forever and eternity. Now, people in the Twitch live stream were saying, like, can you create a situation where we can just hug them, just hug each other, or give us a bed to get cozy in? And they were like, maybe we can work on the hugs, but we've got a lot more content to be working on right now. But they are going to bring us more Warframe 1999 love interest content. They want more lines. They're going to change the way we chat to them slightly. They're just going to improve it. They're just going to carry on working on it because they can see that people absolutely love it, and they've had a lot of positive feedback. And if you watch my Arthur videos, you'll see that I love it. I just love the whole vibe of it. It's friendly and cozy. Anyway, let's move on to the final piece-ish, and that is the biggest update that they've been putting back and back and back. So I'm guessing they've had some issues with it. When we've all heard about the chair, maybe you haven't. That was hilarious. We'll talk about that in another episode. But we want to talk about these new enemy types. They're very much like a Kuva, Lich, and a Tenet Sister, but with some differences. So before we get into it, please excuse me if I have any of the details wrong. It's a bit hazy, and I'm sure it will change ever so slightly by the time they release it in potentially March. Again, they're going to tell us more at the end of February, the 28th, DevStream 185. And it's going to be called the Techrot Encore update. And this is when some other things will be happening as well in the game that we've just previously mentioned. And I'm sure there's going to be other things by then as well. They call it like quality of life and housekeeping, you know, just to improve our overall gaming experience. Now, these new enemies, it's basically the online boy band, but the Techrot infested versions of them. And it's going to be similar to a Kuva Lich and Tenet Sister fight, as in if you have a Kuva Lich or a Tenet Sister triggered, you cannot trigger a Techrot Coda enemy. So they're going to be called the Coda. And the difference between these enemies and a Kuva Lich and a Tenet Sister is that you will not get a weapon from them by defeating them. You're going to earn kind of like a token, and you're going to exchange those tokens very much like you do with Ergo Glass for the corrupted holo keys you get from Railjack missions to get Tenet melee weapons from Ergo Glass at the relay. It's going to be very similar, and those Coda weapons, there's going to be I think around 13 of them. They're kind of infested versions of the weapon, so you know, superior versions of their original counterparts. You're going to exchange the tokens with Eleanor, who's going to stock these weapons, and they're going to be on a statistical rotational basis, much like the Ergo Glassed weapons. I should have said base stats. So, you know, if it's got a cold base damage and it's a specific Coda weapon, you can buy it with your tokens once you've earned it from Eleanor. But the biggest difference that I could pick up on this whole thing was that once you've bought that weapon with your tokens, you do not have to have that base stat damage. So if you bought one with cold base damage, I think Reb said in the dev stream, it's either you have to former it up I think you have to form it up at least once, but you know with Tenet weapons and Kuva weapons, you can former them up 5 times and rank them up to 40, essentially, and, you know, double your slots. But once you've done that, whether it's formering it up once or 5 times, I'm not sure at this point, you'll be able to change that base stat. So you know when you trigger a Kuva Lich or a Tenet Sister, you take the Warframe with the stat base that you want. So it could be radiation or cold or heat or whatever. You're not going to do that this time. You're not going to be triggering that. You're just going to be buying those weapons that are available from Eleanor with that base stat. Now, once you've formed it up once or 5 times or whatever it's going to be, you can then choose to change that base damage stat. So you can change it to a different base. So it could be like you could change it from cold to radiation or whatever. I don't know exactly the dynamic of how that's going to happen, whether you have to pay Eleanor to do it with tokens, I don't know, but it's an option, and it just means you're not stuck with a weapon. You can buy it because it's available there from Eleanor with your tokens, but then you can change it and alter it, and if you're just not happy with it, maybe you can go back at some point and change them and alter them or trial and error them. I mean, there are so many options. Not sure how the Valence Fusion will work on those. Again, when we get to it in the game, we'll go over it thoroughly because I love stuff like that. There's going to be different rewards as well, so you will get a guaranteed cosmetic reward with each Coda enemy that you defeat, and the Coda enemies obviously will be part of the online boy band, and you can convert them like you can with liches and things, but the potential rewards will be like an ephemera, a floof, or an emote, and these emotes are going to be new emotes. They did show them in the dev stream. They're not polished yet. They're very much in their kind of raw. They've just animated them briefly for us to see what they're going to be like, but you can earn them, you can win them, you can get them from doing your Coda enemies. The other thing they mentioned was I think they were Techrot weapons, and they said there's going to be 4 of them. I actually don't know what those were pertaining to, whether it's something to do with these Coda fights or something else, or just Techrot weapons you'll be able to buy maybe from Quincy. I don't know. If anybody in the comments knows more about those 4 Techrot weapons they mentioned, please enlighten us, because I was so focused on the Coda weapons, which is basically like the Kuva or Tenet weapons, that I got totally distracted at that point. Okay. It's so much to take in. And when you look on the website and they try to explain to you how to do the fight, it's basically you're going to need potency mods instead of Requiem mods in your Parazon. And I think they're going to make it so it's much quicker and much easier to take down these enemies. Much like a Tenet Sister, so that you're not faffing around for days trying to chase, you know what it's like with Kuva Liches. Oh my goodness. And I'm going to stop rambling on now, but there were so many other things, like they're going to improve the mod slot capacity for new players up to 15 instead of it being linked directly to your MR, which it was before, which stopped you putting in the better mods and, you know, for fusing stuff up with Endo. And there was something about Riven slot capacities being increased because they want people obviously to access Rivens more, because I've got thousands of the Riven slivers and I just don't buy Rivens anymore because I've run out of slots. We'll see what they're doing there. In the meantime, my darlings, what do you think of all this stuff? There's so much more, and obviously they're going to clarify a few things at the end of this month, February 28th. and then we're going to have more updates in March. Oh, it's just going to be such a good year, and then there's just going to be carrying on working on it. So what do you think of it all, and what are you looking forward to, and what did I miss? What's the important stuff that I missed, because I know there's something. In the meantime, my darlings, thank you so much for joining me. Do come and join the Discord if you want. We don't just talk about Warframe over there. I've got my Discordians helping me on another episode because they're amazing. I'm going to include as many of them as I can in that episode. That's coming up soon. If you want to join in, come and find us. The link on my channel does work. It's been tested. Some people were saying it doesn't work. It does. But if not, come and find me in Warframe, or come and leave a comment on one of my videos, because I'm always checking my notifications, my darling, and I will appreciate any of your interactions. In the meantime, like I said, thank you especially to my Discordians and my YouTube members for all of your support, and here's to another excellent year of Warframing and gaming in general. So in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what it might be. But in the meantime, you take care now, and goodbye.